SHS News has decided to take a closer look at Homer G. Phillips. Homer G. Phillips, once a hospital, is now a senior living area in St. Louis, Missouri. SHS has put together this documentary to answer the questions of why Homer G. Phillips is important and why you should know about Homer G. Phillips. Watch as we sit down with former Homer G. Phillips employees and current Homer G. Phillips senior living residents. Learn about the past, present, and future of Homer G. Phillips. Please stay tuned. There are lots of facts you might want to hear about Homer G. Phillips.
Attorney and civic leader Homer G. Phillips had a vision in 1931 to create a hospital to serve the African American doctors and the community. Hear from Dr. James Whitaker, one of the beneficiaries in 1942.
The opening of Homer G. Phillips not only benefited African American doctors and nurses, but the community at large. To see what impact it had, stay tuned.
G. Phillips was born to assist the dire need for African American doctors in the community it served, but it only stayed open for 40 years. It reopened 24 years after its closing. Many ask, why did they proceed with this action and why did it take so long to do so? For answers to these questions and more, stay tuned.
Who benefits from Homer G. Phillips today? Find out whom and hear from one of them next.
St. Louis attorney Homer Gilliam Phillips, a descendant of slaves, was born in Sedalia, Missouri in 1880. He was the son of a Methodist minister, but he was orphaned in infancy and raised by an aunt. Phillips' interest in law led him to Washington, D.C., where he lived with renowned African-American poet Paul Laurence Dunbar while attending Howard University Law School. In 1904, Phillips moved to St. Louis, where he married and opened a law practice. Phillips became active in local politics. So in 1922, Phillips supported an $87 million bond issue. His primary focus was to secure $100 million on this bond issue to construct a new hospital for blacks in North St. Louis. He spoke before the St. Louis Board of Aldermen and gained support for legislation to create a new, fully funded black hospital. Despite strong opposition from white city leaders, the board ultimately authorized including in the bond issue funds to build a new city hospital in North St. Louis. Though financing was approved, construction was not to begin for another 10 years. When finally completed in 1937, it was named for its most prominent supporter, Homer G. Phillips. The hospital attracted many of the top black medical professionals of the time and developed into one of the nation's leading African American hospitals. Its staff was dedicated to both the hospital and the advancement of medical science. The late Judge Nathan Young once described Phillips as an indomitable figure, a stalwart Republican and inspired speaker and a social reformer who stood down to virulent racism spreading through the city and the nation. He was an inspiration to his people. You have learned about Homer G. Phillips and his importance, history, and benefits. It's important to keep landmarks like Homer G. Phillips and Charles E. Sumner High open. These places let us know who we are and where we've been. Hear Dr. Whitaker speak more about this importance next.
I came to St. Louis in 1940, 3 years after Homer Phillips Hospital opened.
Can you elaborate?
In those days, there were very few opportunities for graduates from medical schools to get internships. I heard about Homer Phillips Hospital, I would say in 1938. And it was a glorious information about this wonderful hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, that offered internship and residences for graduates from medical schools, Negro graduates. At any rate, I came to an opening and saw this wonderful structure. It was magnificent. I had to park and take a look at where I was going. It was a really wonderful sight. During the period when Conway was closing Homer Phillips Hospital, I think that's what you were referring to. I'd have to answer that, and that's a question that you cannot answer in 2 or 3 minutes.
How you doing? My name's Aaron.
My name is Louis Powell, Aaron.
What do you like most about staying here?
The family environment.
How do you feel about Homer G. Phillips?
I was born here. So it's not often you get to go out the same place you came in. And that's one of the drawing points for me.